What's up, everybody? Little different video. This time, I am coming to you as Ryan, the human being, not just Ryan of Paranormal Theory, because I'm sure if you've been keeping up with recent events, you know that a good friend of mine and a lot of my friends in the industry, Dan Rivera, sadly passed away unexpectedly. Um, if you know Dan, you know the wonderful human being that he is. And if you don't know Dan, then you probably know the object that he was traveling with at the time. And it's definitely become a big fuss. That object is Annabelle. So Dan Rivera was the lead investigator of the New England Society for Psychic Research, NESPR. As someone who has actual real life experience with Dan and all of NESPR, Annabelle, I want to say a few things. First of all, I know from me and and Emily, we, are thinking about Dan's family. If you are new to our channel, a big reason we do the paranormal investigations is to honor my me and Emily's mom, who passed away about a year ago. So this is just something that we do that helps us, grieve with that loss. So what I'm going to talk about kind of personally hits home for me, for Emily, and really anyone who's ever lost someone. But there's important things that need to be said. So enough about us. I want to get into the video and why I wanted to speak out and put something out. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation revolving around Dan's unexpected passing and the Annabelle doll. And how do I put this nicely? I have screenshots that I'm going to, while I'm talking, put on the screen, just so you guys can see I'm not making this stuff up. But some really disheartening things. The first one that I want to share with you guys, I'm just going through my phone right here. There is a show called the Truth or Demons podcast, and it is hosted by a Stevie that is on YouTube. So there's a post. I'm going to post it on the screen right now. I got my computer cord and it works. I'll be back on track very soon. Should be able to go live tomorrow, 1 p.m. Any topic requests? Before you answer that, I have one request for tomorrow. Please do not ask me to talk about you know what. She's obviously talking about Dan passing. This was posted like literally a day or two after the news broke that Dan passed. I will not be speaking on any of that. So please, I ask you, don't ask me about it or bring it up. Back to normal starting tomorrow. I hope so. Love you guys. So I see that and I'm like, cool. This guy just lost his life and he was a father of four, husband. So I'm like, cool. We're not gonna we're not gonna speak of him, especially right now. And for those of you who have no idea who Truth or Demons podcast is, uh, it's someone who, let's be honest, obsesses over Nesper. So if anyone was going to say something, I knew it was going to be her definitely leading the charge. So I see that post and I'm like, cool. That family's going through a lot right now. Let's just not even bring Nesper up at the moment. I think 2 days go by. I'm sitting at a friend's party, just sitting out there having a drink, and I see I just have one thing I want to say about current events for now. I think it's important. Who should be paying for Dan's funeral expenses? His family or Nesper? What do you guys think? Dan's cut from his tour alone would cover it. Important note, I don't know if Nesper's helping privately, but the family has a GoFundMe. Nesper hasn't donated at all, so there's that. All right, I want to talk about this right here. One, it's none of your business. It's not. I could end it right there, and a lot of people will agree with me. It's not something you should have even brought up. And quite frankly, a poll, a poll for engagement on your personal page, the Truth or Demons page, I mean. The guy's not even in the ground yet. And you went from one day saying, please do not ask me about this, I'm not going to talk about it, to putting a poll together. Stevie, like, just be better. That I'm going to be straight up, and if you guys know me, you know I'm a pretty straight shooter, and I uh, I don't really censor myself, but to put something out like that because you saw Dan's son post a GoFundMe to help with his father's end of life expenses is just something a trash human being would do. I'm going to be completely quite frank, and I'm sure I'm going to get some flack for this in the comments. And if you follow my personal Facebook, you know I can be a bit brash sometimes, but since this is going on the Paranormal Theory page, I'm going to be as professional as possible. But what a trash thing to say. Absolutely should be ashamed of yourself. I would be physically sick if I said something like that because this kid posted a GoFundMe. And I can tell you from experience, from someone who has buried their own mother a year ago, how expensive these things are. Thousands of dollars. That's just for the funeral. Let's not mention the fact that Dan passed away out of state. So you are now paying the expense to get his body back home. So you're paying for that. You're paying for the funeral expenses. Also, something that I think no one's even thought about because there's about, let's see, I'm looking at the picture right here uh, of the screenshot that I took, 52 votes. So 52 people thought, you know what, this is a great idea that I'm gonna click right on this and voice my opinion that quite frankly nobody gives a fuck about. How about the fact that the wife and now the four kids, which are pretty young by the way, now don't have Dan's earnings that he's bringing in. So we're now cutting this family's way of earning income in half. So did we ever think about that? And you can say, because I've already seen this argument, oh well, he made this much money during this leg of the tour. You don't know shit. You don't. All you're doing is adding up the public prices of the tickets to see Annabelle while she was on tour and around about how many tickets they sold. So you have Tony, you have Chris, you have Wade, you have Father Bob, you have Dan. Not to mention the fact that all of this hotel rooms, gas, food. You really expect this family to survive because one year they took this doll around on tour? Come on. What a stupid thing to say. And quite frankly, as a normal human being, you should have just not even talked about this subject at all. Think of something else to talk about. But we'll get to that subject here in a second. I want to bring up another person because these people bring up people all the time. And I think that it's time to start speaking up about them because if we want to throw names around here, then why should you be exempt from this? Especially if something needs to be called out. I'll be the pinata for this, and I hope more people speak out on this subject alone. But I'll be the pinata. I'll take the shots first. I don't care. I always say that you can't tell me something I haven't already told myself in the mirror. I've had to bury my mom. You think you could say something that's going to hurt me? Absolutely not. But I will stand up for people who are going through personal loss, people who are bullied, which, by the way, Stevie, one of the biggest bullies that I know. So let's not bring up Rob either. But you already did that, and we're gonna also get to the screenshot of that. So the screenshot I'm gonna show right now, Florio's Phantom Files, another YouTuber. These are all debunkers, by the way. She said, I forgot about this. Dan Rivera was a partner in the production company Nesper used for their projects, such as the tour. So why is the family struggling for money? TCD equals Tony, Chris, Dan. Stevie and I discussed this company in a video together. More in the comments. Listed under TCD are tickets to Annabelle viewings, and this website is a booking site run by Rob from Get Haunted. That's the guy who has threatened people. We talked about him in the past, and he takes a 3.5% fee from each ticket sold. So what you're seeing is the website Nesper is using to sell their tickets. Nesper has to make money. Rob from Get Haunted has a right to make money. Florio, 3.5% fee. So what you're saying is Rob is getting 3.5% of what Nesper is raking in. Have we thought about the other expenses that go into that? Rob's not getting 3.5%. Regardless, another stupid thing to say. But you're not done because you also go into something else here. So, under the Truth or Demons podcast post, there's a Ted Willis. I don't know Ted, but I'm going to read this out loud and we're going to see Florio's response. It's disheartening to see people with no personal connection to this deceased turn a tragedy into podcast content. If you're not supporting the family or honoring the loss, it's worth asking who the conversation is really serving. Tagging a respected researcher in the mix to drive clicks or stir engagement doesn't make it more meaningful. It just makes it more transparent. Florio responds, this isn't podcast content. Stevie hasn't released any content on this. This is a Facebook poll to try and hold Tony up to pay what he owes Dan from the tour Dan worked at. Florio, let me tell you something real quick. And as a fellow YouTuber, you should know this. The poll that Stevie shared at the end of the day is content. Content that her viewers and her followers interacted with. Dan's not in the ground yet. So on said post, a Judy Love, who I don't know, why is it anyone's business or even a topic? Have some respect for the family and not post on social media discussing who should pay. It's none of our business. Stevie, Truth or Demons podcast, you must be new here. Hi, I'm the one who debunked Annabelle. Stevie, I'm sure you're going to be watching this. Right here. Look me in the eyes. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying. This is bigger than Annabelle. No one cares about a debunking video of Annabelle. Congratulations. You're like the 10,000th person to debunk Annabelle. Let the guy rest in peace. Let his family, for the love of God, bury their father and bury their husband before you use his and Nesper's name to try to drive in clicks. Because let's be honest here, okay? You, Florio, should be thanking Nesper and Dan because without them, you don't have a platform. Your most watched videos, your most popular videos, all revolve around the same thing. And one of those people has unfortunately passed away. So, a little recommendation: be a better human. And let's talk about one more thing. I was shown a podcast, and the podcast went by, I'm just finding it here. The Pascal Show. So, the Pascal Show, I let's I'm gonna be straight up here. I don't know who Pascal is. YouTube channel, pretty big YouTube channel. This is not Pascal. This is not his fault at all. He doesn't know any better. Uh, he was just, from what I can see, he picks certain like current events and he talks about them, and he'll bring guests on to speak on that current event. So-called experts on that current event. So Pascal, if you're seeing this, this has nothing to do with you, buddy. But something needs to be said. Pascal brings on a Frankie Kambo. Frankie then goes to say in the podcast that he didn't know Dan, but he knows Nesper and he knows Rob from Get Haunted. Rob is one of my good friends. I personally know Nesper. I knew Dan. Frankie does not know Rob. Rob talked to Frankie one time, and Frankie told him to go F his mother, Rob's mother. So that's the only time they've ever talked. During this podcast, Frankie's telling Pascal they're friends. And before he even says this, he's plugging his own personal page and Ghost Hunting Group. So let me get this straight. You're lying to get on a podcast to talk about someone who just died, an Annabelle, and I don't care what you are, a demonologist, demonologist, I don't give a shit. What a psycho thing to do. Oh, by the way, Frankie, the nephew doesn't own the items, as you say in the podcast. The son-in-law owns the items. Tony Spira, married to Judy. Judy is Lorraine's daughter. Tony's not the nephew. Tony owns the items. So that's a wrap on that video, guys. I just wanted to say a few things because there's a lot of crap going around on the internet right now uh, from people who didn't even know, like, they're trying to talk on this subject and they thought that Annabelle wasn't a Raggedy Ann doll. They had no idea. Like, you guys are going to read some ridiculous things. Do yourself a favor. Look into who you're talking to about it. Make sure they have real life experience with this stuff. And most importantly, like, just let Dan's family have some time to themselves. Nothing's that important. Using Dan's name, not that important. Annabelle, it's not that important. Let's just be better. Let's be better human beings. That's all I got to say.